Imagine sitting in traffic, waiting like any other day, then in an instant, everything changes. That's what happened to Timothy Kuhn in 2018 when a speeding F-150 rear-ended his car at 45 miles an hour. But what came next was even more shocking. The biggest fight wasn't over his injuries, it was against his own insurance company, USAA. Hi everyone, Tia here at Trailstone Insurance Group, and USAA promises to stand by military family, but when Timothy needed them, they didn't just deny him, they actually fought against him. So this is the story of betrayal, corporate greed, and a $100 million verdict that exposed the truth. All right, so let's set the stage here. Timothy Kuhn was on a Las Vegas freeway when traffic came to a stop, and a Ford F-150 behind him did not slow down. It actually crashed into his BMW at 45 miles per hour, which started pushing his car into another vehicle, and the impact left him with severe neck and back injuries, along with something much worse, a traumatic brain injury, also known as a TBI. Okay, so while Timothy experienced some improvement in his physical injuries, his recovery was marked by enduring cognitive impairments that significantly affected his daily activities and professional responsibilities. He actually continued to struggle with the classic symptoms of a TBI and racked up huge medical bills looking for relief while seeking help from neurologists across the country. And he did everything right. He filed claims, sought medical help, trusted his insurer, but then USAA made a choice that would change everything. This is where I think USAA started to focus on money more than taking care of their customers. For years, Timothy had paid premiums, believing USAA would have his back if the worst happened. So at first they agreed he wasn't at fault. So let me repeat this. USAA actually agreed Timothy was not at fault, but when he secured $50,000 from the at-fault driver's insurance, USAA started to change their story. So instead of honoring his claim, USAA did something unthinkable. They intervened in the lawsuit not to support him, but to argue that he was at fault for the crash. They weren't just refusing to pay, they were actively trying to shift blame onto their own policyholder. Absolutely insane. So USAA's delay tactics drained Timothy Kuhn financially and emotionally, of course. They offered him just $10,000, which is barely enough to cover his medical expenses. And as his condition actually worsened, USAA forced him into a legal battle that dragged on for years. So Kuhn then incorporated bad faith claims against USAA, arguing that they breached their obligations to him by arguing in court filings that Kuhn caused the accident after already determining he wasn't at fault. USAA maintained Kuhn's head injury wasn't as serious as he claimed, right before making a $250,000 policy limit payout offer on the eve of the trial. That's right. On the night before the trial, USAA decided to offer $250,000, which they should have done from the beginning, and Kuhn isn't alone in being mistreated by USAA. Actually, in 2024, the Mississippi Supreme Court upheld a $15 million verdict against USAA for mishandling a Hurricane Katrina claim. And that same year, they actually paid a $64 million settlement for illegally overcharging service members on loans. So I think the pattern is pretty clear, profits over people. But this time, USAA was held accountable. In February of 2025, a Nevada jury sent a powerful message. They awarded Timothy Kuhn $14 million in damages and an unprecedented $100 million in punitive damages against USAA. So the verdict wasn't just for Timothy. It was a warning to the entire insurance industry. Kuhn's attorney, Joshua Barrett, said, "We are still at a loss of why USAA did not resolve this earlier, other than them thinking that they could get by on their reputation." They seem to lose sight of the duties they owe to their own insured and just do everything they can to minimize the amount they have to pay on the claim, he said. Barrett also said that while his team didn't get to speak with any of the jurors after the trial, he does believe that USAA's decision to make a policy limit payout on the eve of the trial, while denying that Kuhn suffered a brain injury, cast the insurer in a really bad light. And that was compounded by calling two expert witnesses who argued Kuhn's head injury wasn't real, despite what Barrett said was substantial medical evidence to the contrary. So USAA could not come up with a coherent, reasonable explanation of why they paid the limits after so many years of refusing to do so, especially since they were saying the claim was still worth less than the limits even at the trial. So Barrett suggested large punitive verdicts like these should be a wake-up call to insurers engaged in similar conduct. USAA markets itself as the gold standard for military families, loyal, trustworthy, dedicated, but behind the branding is a corporation that denies claims, shifts blame, and fights the very people they claim to protect. At Trailstone, we believe insurance should mean something. It should be a promise kept, not a battle fought in court. If you or someone you know has been let down by USAA or another insurer, don't wait until it's too late. It's time to hold insurers accountable. So if you've been wronged, share your story. Let's shed some light on their shady practices. Talk soon.